Welcome to the Corner Store. My name is Pietro Baker.
And I'm Tori Watson-Jones.
Christopher Bass, aka C Bass. Keep it fresh.
And we just want to thank Baker and H Media Productions and Cruise Tax Consultants for sponsoring us. And we hope you enjoy the show. And yes, this is the Corner Store, and who came to visit us down here at the Corner Store is Ann Hagemann from Real Prayers Are Said in German.
Hey.
We are so glad that she came here. We want to just, I guess we just jump right in. Real Prayers Are Said in German, what is that all about?
So Real Prayers Are Said in German is based on true events in my father's childhood. He grew up in the Peoria, Central Illinois area. His family were German immigrants. He was born in this country. But it came out of actually a weird source a few years ago from a Facebook post that I put on. We're all big Cub fans, so don't stone me if you're not. But it was the year 2015 when we thought they might go to the World Series. And I put a post on my Facebook wall that said, hey, I really hope they do, because being a Cubs fan and all that surrounds that unity that goes with that helped my dad get through a really hard time in his life.
Okay.
I got posts from all over the world from people. When you know about my dad, is your dad happy about this? Is he still alive? And it just got me to thinking that I really didn't know everything about my dad's childhood. So over the next few months, I interviewed my dad and his two sisters, who are all luckily still living, and even today still are. And I compiled some short stories with my intention to give to my family as a Christmas gift. Consequently, while I was doing that, a screenwriter friend of mine from Chicago said, I'd really like to read those. She did. Her name was Angela Morris. And she says, I think this needs to go a little further. This is a story that's compelling. It's appealing to many different demographics. I think this should be a feature film. That's how it was started. So, gives you a little background on that, and the power of social media today, I never would have thought.
Yes, it is very powerful.
You know, because I'm an actress, and that had always been my primary focus, and now I find myself producing and writing and, you know, doing everything else with it. So.
All right, awesome. Now, how old is your father?
My father today is 81.
What's your father's name?
My dad's real name is, and I say it like that because I'll tell you why, is James Hagemann. Now, my name is Ann Hagemann, but I kept my married name when I got married. And when you do see our film, you will notice the last name is different. It's not Hagemann, it's Baumann.
Okay.
But it's good to sometimes do that to make everything clean, because let's just say you're going to tweak things in your story, and while it's based on true events, it may not be exactly the way everything happened, and it's just better to change people's names.
Right,
so,
right.
Yeah.
Get you. I get you. Now, Ann, you are part of the SAG union, right?
Correct, correct.
Okay. Now, what's the benefits of that?
So SAG stands for Screen Actors Guild, for those who don't know. And of course, we all know being part of a team and being united always makes one stronger. We get encouragement from our team members. They help us out. So that's, of course, a part of this. But the other part of this is actually from the business standpoint. When you are part of a collective union like that, whether it be a plumber's union or an actor's union, there are times that you may need their help with contract, or you may need your help getting your money. Maybe you did the job, and if it's under a SAG contract, then the Screen Actors Guild organization will come to your defense. They will pay you, even if that client, say for that commercial, reneged on their end and didn't pay you.
Oh, wow.
So then SAG, of course, will take them to court, but that's a whole other story. But so there's many benefits to belonging to a union like that. And quite frankly, in the higher budget film world, you don't have to be a SAG member to audition, but there is priority given at auditions when you come in. We're not talking my kind of film. We're going to use union and non-union, but when you're talking a big, Spike Lee movie or a Ron Howard movie, you know, definitely it's an advantage.
Okay, that's good. And you with Shirley Hamilton Talent too, right?
I am. Shirley Hamilton Talent is the longest running agency in the Midwest. Their main office is in Chicago. However, they can represent me in the LA as well as the New York market too. So I actually get submitted for projects through them in all three of those markets.
Okay. So what made you decide to get into film or acting? Did you always want to be an actor or?
That is such a wonderful question, and it actually all goes back to my daddy too.
Okay.
So you can tell
You a daddy's girl.
She lined up
I
with
just
you,
said
my
that. I
daddy.
swear. I
love that. I'm
I
a
do
daddy's
too.
girl.
I am, and I embrace that. I always knew, to answer that question, I always knew I wanted to do something in the creative field. I am someone who has no boxes or walls in my life.
Yes, that's a wonderful thing. Some people don't realize. I won't let you continue, but some people don't realize how important that is. You know, and I've been around people where it's like you in this box and you don't even realize there's a whole bunch of other that you can live.
And I actually feel sorry for other people, but that's a whole nother,
Yeah, that's
a whole nother show.
Anyway.
So I always knew that I wanted to do something creative. My father, while it wasn't his vocation, it was an avocation. My father is a wonderful musician.
Ah, okay.
And and I would hear him play the piano when I was younger, and he was actually my first piano teacher.
Okay.
So I always knew I wanted to do something creative, and the whole idea then of being an actress came about probably about 4th grade when I got my first role in a play.
Ah.
And it was Dorothy and the Wizard of Oz.
Oh, really?
And I actually auditioned. It was in my grade school. And I actually auditioned to be a munchkin. I thought, that's a realistic goal, right?
Yes.
I'm a little 4th grader. And there's 8th grade girls trying out for Dorothy. So, like, that's going to happen. But I actually got Dorothy. And I don't think it was because I was better than anybody else, I'll be honest.
That's right.
I think it's because already by 4th grade, I was very proficient at reading music. I could accompany myself on the piano.
Oh.
And I think the teachers thought, whoa, this is going to be easy. She can teach herself the music.
Yes.
And I was short enough to be Dorothy, but tall enough that they could use younger kids for munchkins.
Okay.
So at that point, I was like, I
Yeah.
can use the music, but I can do the acting, all that together. So.
Yeah, so that's how you just started off.
That was my big debut.
Big debut.
4th grade grade school play.
And you have so many other films I see. I mean, I looked at them. Fingerprints. This is a short story of Real Prayers. That's like the Belle Gunness.
Belle Gunness is based on a real woman. This is so opposite spectrum of Real Prayers. She's one of the most prolific female serial killers of all time.
You played.
Right? She is from Norway, and she came to this country and settled first in the Chicago area. I want to say probably around, like the late 1800s. I don't know the exact year. But anyway, I won't get into all that. That hasn't been released yet.
Oh, really? Okay.
And,
Where did you get your inspiration for that, though?
well, I didn't write it.
Yeah.
I'm the actress that was cast in it.
Okay.
I actually play Belle Gunness.
Okay. But did you have to, like, because you're not a murderer.
Well, somebody's not telling.
Most serial killers
I
are
better not
dead.
keep y'all together because she always
We're
keeps.
gonna talk after the show.
I know, right? So I think what you're saying is how did I do my homework to figure out how to play this woman or whatever?
Yes.
Well, with every character I play, I try to find parallels of things I have in common. We were both female.
Okay.
And it kind of stopped there. But,
Is there a gun in
actually, no.
Oh, no.
No.
So it was physical.
But no, without giving away too many
Okay,
details.
yes.
But let's just say that sadly there are people in this world who have mental illness.
Yeah.
And then there are those who really want to get revenge for something.
Yeah.
And she did have something happen early in her young adult life that I think spawned her hatred for men in general.
So she snapped.
So I think she snapped in the old country.
Oh, poor Bill.
And yeah.
Billy Bill.
But I do think for those of you out there who like thrillers, and I guess you could use the word horror, but I refrain from using that too much because this is a psychological thriller more than anything, I think.
I love those.
Because it's a very intellectual script.
Yes.
Yes.
But here's an interesting thing because it parallels with Real Prayer. So The guy that wrote it and that directed me in Real Prayers is Stephen Rominski, who is one of my fellow producers in Real Prayers Are Said in German.
Yeah.
He has a real detailed eye. He's very good with numbers. He's very good with everything tech-wise, which I'm not. So he fills in the gaps that I can't fill in. But that's how we actually met.
Okay.
Yeah, it was
good.
when he directed me on that. And I figured if I can trust any guy who's directing me to be a serial killer,
Right.
yeah, I can.
You also have Less Than 30 and Unconditional, and we've been trying to figure out how to say this. Falls of the
Noose.
Noose.
So,
Okay.
so yeah, Falls of the Noose, interestingly enough, was a proof of concept that, much like we did with our short film of Real Prayers Are Said in German. And so, sadly, they never did. I think it was a funding thing. I don't think they ever found their funding. It never did become a feature film, but it was a short. But I can tell you, because I was just checking last night, because I knew I was coming here, on Amazon Prime right now is Dearest Jane, which was a film I made quite a while ago, actually. And then I believe Hannah Free, Hannahfree, is coming back to Amazon Prime. It's an LGBTQ drama that I'm very proud of for personal reasons. That I was very supportive and very active when they were trying to get their right to marriage, and my sister's gay, very open, proud gay woman, and I was very happy to do this project because it very much promoted that agenda. I'm trying to think what else is out there. Less Than 30 is on Amazon Prime too, I think.
Okay.
And Less Than 30 is about a young woman, and I play her mother, who I keep telling I want her to marry and give me grandbabies. To spite me, she goes on one of these dating websites. But she on purpose only goes out with dudes who are less than 30% compatible to her. To spite me. And she goes, so she brings home all these dates that these guys are so undesirable, like for lots of reasons I won't even get into. It's hilarious.
Yes.
That's Angela Morris, and Angela Morris is the screenwriter that I hired to help me with the screenplay for Real Prayers Are Said in German.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
She's the one that said this should come a feature.
Right.
Well, they just took their Amazon Prime money out of my account.
I know,
so
mine
I'm
too.
good.
Yeah,
I'm going to have to go on there
We
and
got to go see it. And so the one film that we wanted to go see up in Chicago,
Manic.
Yes, by what's the lady's name?
Andrea Nicole.
Andrea
Yes.
Nicole. Yeah.
Yes.
And that was powerful.
Thank you.
Yes.
I am so proud of that. And Andrea, I'm going to be making sure you know. I'm going to be texting you and emailing you and telling you to watch this thing because I want to promote Manic right now.
Yes.
So Manic was something that Andrea wrote, she produced, she directed. She's a
Yes.
Chicago area filmmaker, producer, an amazing individual whose voice needs to be heard. This film is meant to educate people about anti-bullying, about being aware when you know that someone you care about, you love, is having suicidal thoughts, tendencies. This is not a feel-good movie, but it's a movie that you need to feel.
I like
And so this is something that she's trying to get out there, and speaking of which, I know she's going to great lengths and efforts to try to get it on Netflix or some type of streaming service. So I'm hoping that at some point she can. Right now she's traveling to a lot of schools and community centers and churches to get the word out there about this beautiful film. So Andrea, shout out to you.
I remember being there, and they had the Chicago police crisis leader there. And she came actually, and she was like, how can we get this film into our, when we talk to people who's dealing with crisis. So it's an awesome film, very awesome film. Manic, that's what it's
Manic, just M-A-N-I-C by Andrea Nicole. Yeah, you can look it up. It's on Facebook. I don't know if she has a separate website or not, but if you Google it, it should come up too.
So all these films and plus many more are on AnnHagemanns.com. You can see everything about her and everything. Okay, so but I did want to talk about Real Present Said in German. The music video that was shot.
Yeah.
Yes. So we worked on the set, and that was so much fun. It was so much fun, and so tell us a little about it. It was the little girl singing, and
So, over the course of the development of this feature film, which happens a lot with independent films, you do what are called proof of concepts. So you try to do some short pieces to show your would-be investors, your would-be promoters, your would-be distributors, because the whole goal of making a film is to sell it so everybody can see it, right?
Right.
What you intend to do. And I have to give a shout out to Pietro, Are's behind the camera, and many, many more who hopefully are watching this, who have given us free talent, energy, love, and devotion, because it all has been natural. None of us has been paid during this process. And so we did another proof of concept last summer of 2018, called Ruth's Debut. Part of the story, well, really the essence of the story is about not just surviving hardships, but thriving through them. And taking these challenges that God gives us, and again, that old saying of trying to turn lemons into lemonade. And these three children, my father and his two sisters, relied on their faith, their trust in God, their German heritage, which wasn't a popular thing to be proud of in the 1940s, because even though they weren't Nazis, everybody pointed their finger at them and said they were, just because they were German. You know?
That's called profiling.
Yes. we all have been through that.
Yes.
For one reason or another. And so my dad's older sister, my dad's the middle child, in our film, who's called Ruth, one of her go-tos was music. During this time when her father was ill and when there was all this anti-German sentiment going on, it was a hard time for them. She got the opportunity to actually take some voice lessons. A woman in the area donated her time to teach her, because my family couldn't afford lessons. And then she got an opportunity to sing live on the radio. Now in the 1940s, singing live on the radio was like being a movie star, okay? So our Ruth's Debut music video, which I think is going to be shown at some point during this broadcast, was an opportunity to show this girl who's like 12, 13-ish old, getting her first time to sing in front of this massive crowd, with a band behind her, live, being broadcast on the local WMBD radio. And she really did do this. I mean, she really did sing on the radio.
Yes.
So we put together this incredible, massive group of people to play extras and cameos, and we had this wonderful crew and local actors, and we had real local musicians actually record the music, all again donating their time. There's a guy in Bartonville that has a studio called Mirror Image, and he donated his studio to have us record everything there, his studio time and everything. So we did that. Very proud of the results. And then when you watch this video, immediately following, we have like a little sizzle reel where we put together some more little vignettes. The kids playing baseball, because that was an important thing to them. My grandfather had taught my dad and his sisters how to play ball, and that Cubs were the greatest team in the world. And you get to see the Bauman children on the farm, and just some really kind of fun, also light moments to this film. So that's Ruth's Debut, and it really has helped us in our journey to get more people on board to help support us emotionally and financially. So yeah.
Yes, that's awesome. That's awesome. And today's topic we're going to actually talk about is entertainment and how it influenced society. But we're going to share Ruth's Debut right now, and so we'll be right back.
June 11th, 1944. Dear Daddy, I have some exciting news. Margie and I have been asked to perform at the next community band concert. I've been given a solo, and while I'm excited, I'm also very nervous. They're going to broadcast it live on the radio, and I really hope that you'll be listening.
before I present our two special performers, I would like to invite you all to visit our back table to purchase war bonds to help support our troops overseas. And now, it is my pleasure to introduce to you, for their first time ever on stage, Ruth and Margie, the Bauman sisters.
Things just aren't the same without you here. I love you, Daddy. I miss you so much. Get well soon. All my love, Ruth.
Is just horrible.
Shut your mouth, Roy. She's a prodigy. Everyone says so.
I don't know about that. Sounds like a rabbit too stupid to die.
She learned 3 songs in a week.
She no take me out to the ball game?
Of course. first thing she learned.
I bet she doesn't.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Can you play Take Me Out to the Ball Game?
Mm-hmm.
Are we gonna play ball or what?
Sure, Billy, we'll play ball.
Shut it.
What?
He's just messing with you. Come on. A catch by Pathco?
Pathco lobs it too.
Billy home.
Cameretta for the out.
Anytime, fathead. Oh, yeah? Well,
Hey!
Got this. Get the ball. The guard.
Hey, look, he's stealing.
Seth, come back!
Frau Susanne Frau Susanne Bidam, wer ist dein König? Frau Susanne Bidam, wer ist dein König? Herr, segne uns und diese Gaben, die wir von deiner Güte empfangen. Durch Christus, unseren Herrn. Amen.
Ew, Billy! Ew! Stop it! Stop! Ew! Get out! Archie, guys! Go away! Stop!
Student Talk. We hope you enjoyed our promotional video and agree with Parents Television and Motion Picture Council that, quote, families across America are hungry for positive, uplifting, and heartwarming entertainment options. It is unfortunate that there is such a dearth of high-quality work that has earned such a description, but we believe Real Prayers fits perfectly into that category and would be extremely well received by audiences across our nation. Timothy F. Winter, President. Investors and significant donors are needed to make the feature film version of our story come to life and help us bring this urgently needed feel-good story to the big screen. Prospective investors should contact Ann Hagemann and Stephen Rominski at germanprayers@gmail.com. Visit our website, www.realprayersaresaidingerman.com, to learn more about our project. And now, roll those credits.
Don't sit under the apple tree. Anyone else but me. Anyone else but me. Anyone else but me. No, no, no. Just remember that I've been true to nobody else but you. So just be true to me. Don't go walking down lovers' lane with anyone else but me. Anyone else but me. Anyone else but me. No, no, no. Don't start showing off all your charms in somebody else's arms. You must be true to me. I'm so afraid that the plans we made underneath those moonlit skies will fade away and you're bound to stray if the stars get in your eyes. So don't sit under the apple tree with anyone else but me. You're my L.O.V. Don't go walking down lovers' lane with anyone else but me. Anyone else but me. Anyone else but me. No, no, no. Don't start showing off all your charms in somebody else's arms. You're my
And yes, we are back. And that was Ruth's debut. That was so much fun shooting that. So much fun, doing that. But we're going to jump into our topic since we have Ann here to give us some advice. And she's part of the entertainment industry. We want to know about how entertainment influences society. Now, there was a study that says, well, does entertainment influence society or does society influence entertainment? Because how does a person know how to entertain unless they know what people like, right? And do people use entertainment as a vehicle to produce their own, agenda in life? So I'm going to ask you, Chris, what's the major media source that society is influenced by?
So this should probably come to no shock to anyone in here, but right now, social media, traditional social such as Facebook, Twitter, YouTube are not the ones with the greatest impact on consumers. It's Instagram. Instagram, according to research from Japanese application Takumi, which connects Instagram influencers with brands, Instagram generates more sales and consumer response than any other social network. It was determined in the research which studied 15 biggest influencers of consumer behavior. In the first 3 places are friends, family, partners, followed by consumer reviews and television. Instagram comes in 6th in place in front of Facebook, which is 7th. Listed at 10th place continued with ads, colleagues, magazines, YouTube, and Twitter are in the 11th and 10th place respectively. While blogs came in 15th behind radio and celebrities. Instagram is, because think about it, Instagram, everybody can get out there, work there. For example, athletic trainer can show pictures of what they're doing or post workouts. People can post their voice, just doing different stuff. And so people can get very personal and get testimonies out there. So it just shares a lot and helps people like branch out a lot, just different ways.
And that's more for like people, want to share themselves with other people. But we want to know the entertainment like industry.
Yeah.
You know, that's still Instagram?
It's still Instagram.
Oh, wow.
You can get yourself out there. I said, like I said, just like the Athletic Trader. You post it. If you post your skits, you'll see a lot of people posting skits or posting different types forms of media out there.
So social media is the biggest influence.
Social media is becoming the
It's not
biggest.
TV. Not TV at all?
TV is falling off. It's not as. It's just like radio. You don't hear too much about. You don't hear about too much anymore. They're falling off. Right now, you'll hear more about YouTube, Twitter, Instagram.
Mm-hmm. You know, that's interesting because I don't have kids, but I rely on my nieces and nephews to kind of keep me up on the game, as y'all say. But my nephew, a long time ago, when he was in high school, he played high school sports, and then it led him into college sports. And he used to tell me all the time, "You got to Google me." I'm like, Google me? Who you? I was there when you was born. I don't need to Google you. I don't know who you are. But when I did Google him, it is interesting to see how all of his major sport clips was in Google.
Yeah.
Even down to my sister's address. I'm like, they know where you live. I was like, this is crazy. This is amazing. So if you Google people, you can get all of their history and all of the different highlights in their life. Maybe not so nice highlights, because I've seen mug shots of people's Googles before when I Googled it. You know, but that is crazy how media or that type of influence can thumbprint you and engrade you and have that in there. I haven't Googled myself yet because I'm scared to see what's on. Scared to see.
Oh, you need to do it anyway.
I'm nervous.
I'm gonna do it.
I'm nervous.
She did rob the stuff.
Oh, I never seen it.
It's a warrant for her arrest.
I am nervous to Google myself.
What's your thoughts on that? Yeah.
Well, and I did know that Instagram, because they've kind of played a game with each other for a while. Twitter was really powerful, and there's still a lot of people that tweet. I'm on Twitter, but I'm also on Instagram now, Facebook, of course. But you're right. It's everything through the internet now. It's everything through that, and we talk about entertaining influence society, society influence entertainment. My perspective, but again, it's just my humble perspective, and everyone can have their own opinion about this, is I think the content that's on TV, which I also include like anything on a streaming service, because you can watch it on your TV or your computer, I think that content is being produced as a reflection of what's going on in society. A lot of it. You look at a lot of Ryan Murphy projects. Of course, American Horror Story is just because people love horror stories. But if you look at some of his other like limited projects, like the O.J. Simpson trial, or look at the Versace thing that's going on right now, okay? It's content that people want to see, that they are still searching answers for, possibly. While I believe we have a great nation, I think we can become even greater.
I agree.
And so the content, I guess bottom line is, a lot of the content I see out there is being made because people do have a story they want to tell, and they do have an agenda that they want to promote or even push sometimes, or social issue that now has come up that we can explore. And I like to think, even though we all have wonderfully diverse opinions about everything, that at least if it begins a dialogue and we can move forward from that, and maybe do some positive things in the future about that issue, that's important.
So that brings up another question. It's like, the different influences. Sometimes it's race, sometimes it's war, politics, health, money, and those are the type of things, like when it's in society, something will come up to promote that agenda. That's
and it gives you an idea. You're like, you know what? I need to do something about that. And this is how I, as an artist, can do that.
That's just like that, speaking of streaming, that show that's out now, Abducted in Plain Sight.
I didn't mean to say that.
Oh my. The thing about it is, it's I don't know how to rate it as far as good or bad, or it's one of those, what you just said, that it gets your feelings all kind of tangled up. Like, I wanted to throw my remote at the TV. Like, are you serious? This really happened in this family's life? You know, it's a documentary of,
Yeah.
of some events that took place where, I'm not going to go too much into it, but where one of the daughters, there was 3 daughters that was living in his family, 2-parent home, and some neighbor came in and he was a child predator. And basically he was let into their home, and this man was able to abduct this young daughter, the middle daughter, I believe it was, no, the oldest daughter, from the home right in front of the parents. And it was some things that led up to it that was like, didn't y'all see this coming? That's how I was sitting there watching it. And as much as I wanted to turn it off because it was pissing me off, I kept watching it. So yeah, that is how they get you. That is how they get you as far as media, you know, allowing things like this on TV because we want to see it, but we don't want to see it. And that whole time I kept saying, something's not right about me watching this.
So how did it influence you though? I mean, did it make you angry? Or?
It made me angry because that's my line of work. I'm in that social work field, so working with kids, and I see, you know, you can kind of have this sixth sense about predators and boundary issues and things like that. And so when you see something like that, the whole time I'm like, red flag, red flag. Like the first sentence that they came on, I mean, they didn't even say their names good enough. I said, red flag, red flag. You know, so I'm sitting there, you know, seeing all of this, but the influence that it put on me, number one, it gave me a platform to talk about it even now, but I've talked about it in other little conversations that I've had with other people who have seen it. Then even how I came about knowing about it was through Facebook. Somebody posted it on Facebook and was like, have y'all seen this? And that's what got me turning like, wow, do I miss something? Let me see this. And then one of those days when I was having a binge watching moment, put it up and I was like, oh my God. You know, so again, the influence.
Social media.
Social media.
It goes back to what you said. He said, but these are just personal. That's how media. That's what they look at. They can. I mean, we'll probably dive into this, I assume, later on. Media companies. That's one of the reasons how they can look and see what people like. Is by when you post certain stuff that you dislike or certain opinions that you have, and they can look at them like, okay, well, we'll start. It's almost like geo-targeting. I forget what it is. Like when you keep looking some over and over again. It's almost like that. So when I know it looks like you're just sharing your personal life. You know, I know, but they look at that. They can kind of gauge like what they can sell to you through that. They can kind of gauge the post to you through that. Like, okay, you do this like several times a day, we'll start sending you more stuff that's about this. And they said most of the users on that responded in millennials, and 68% of them aged 18 to 24 said they were more likely to buy a product if it was recommended by someone they follow on Instagram. Kind of like how you read the word of mouth on Facebook. Like, oh, well, and so it spreads from there.
So companies maximize on this.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
What about the government? Do you think the government maximizes on this? Everybody laughs. Do you have some
If you
stats
want
on
to
that?
find like El Chapo, some criminal, somebody, you look, social media. Somehow somebody can track. I don't know how to. Like the greatest weapon.
Somehow somebody gets all these algorithms of what we're doing, and they're able to, you know, try to get us to buy something or to at least follow their beliefs or agendas or you know whatever. I don't know how that works.
I don't either.
It's
But I
sort of
think
like
it's creepy,
geo-targeting.
though.
If I recall, they doing they kind of check how many times you've looked at this topic or you've done this, and they just kind of
And
start.
then they start sending you those stuff. Like
Right.
even on Netflix, they will tell you because you watch this, then they give you other ideas of things that you want to watch.
So be careful if you watch my serial killer movie.
I'm gonna pull it up.
Me too.
Pull it up.
So what is because that's like conspiracy theory, is it not? But what is that? What is that, Chris?
A conspiracy theory is the fear of a non-existent conspiracy or the unnecessary assumption of conspiracy when other explanations are more plausible.
Okay, so that would be conspiracy.
What was the name of that movie with Will Smith?
Independence Day. No. State of the Union.
State of the Union?
Yeah.
Was that State of the Union when the government was, basically, that's when they first put it out there that the government had different ideas of tapping your phones or being able to, you know, see what you were doing in your own homes and things like that. Was that State of the Union? That was like that took place like in the early 2000s, if it wasn't the late 90s. I can't remember exactly when that came out. But that was like an eye-opener for people to understand that there is no privacy.
Right.
There really isn't any privacy, and people. When you ask that question, what do you think? What influence does the government have on there? I go back to that movie when they put that out there. How they know
Yeah.
somehow.
So does that
That's why you
produce?
gotta watch you put on social media.
Yeah, that produce fear or paranoia. Does that produce that with society? I mean, if I knew
Yes.
back in the day, not now. Back in the day, I used bad stuff, and I'm like, I don't want nobody to know that I did that. And so, but nobody. And so, but if I mean, but just to know that someone may have seen this or someone have a record of
Or they
this.
have the ability of finding it out. You know, I
Yeah.
had a friend when we were in high school, and you know this friend. She, her brother got a job at the Pentagon, and I'll never forget when we were in high school, and these men in black came with these black suits came to the high school, and it was escorting. I'm like, where are they going with my friend?
Right.
What's going on? It was escorting down the hallway. And so later on, when I caught up with her, she was like, "Oh, they came to interview me because my brother is having a job." But she was like, they knew everything.
Yeah.
They knew everything about her, everything about her family, and she knew that it was a possibility of her being interviewed, but she didn't know they were just going to come to the school and.
But that's just so scary to me.
It's very scary.
It is.
You said Men in Black. You sure it wasn't like she had an alien or something?
No,
I was gonna say, sure that wasn't Will Smith?
because I would have been all over him. Y'all would have heard about that back then.
But that's what it makes it. It's a fear. It's like a fear of something you don't quite.
Yeah.
It's like putting a fear where there's no need for a fear. I mean, it's like giving you making you think a what if. It's like a bad what if. Like this might be true.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It could be true.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
And then the problem is they kind of build up on different stuff. Like there's stuff for cartoons. There's stuff for almost everything. What might really be true
Right.
versus what's really true.
Yeah.
But the point of line is it keeps you connected and it makes you want more. So when you watch something, because social media has that influence, when you watch certain things, it triggers another response in your brain, I feel, to make you want to go further. As much as I didn't want to finish watching that whole documentary, I did. And then whatever else came on after that, because I watched that, I was like, well, I'm going to watch a little bit of this too. And I think the next thing that came on was I can't remember his name, but it was a serial killer who was abducting certain girls of a certain gender, certain hair color and all that. And then that sparked my interest because I'm like, this is crazy how, and then it made me want to think how serial killers' minds think. So then whatever came on after that was more even intense. So yeah.
So does it makes you more aware, but does it form like a prejudice that you have? Like, so if you see someone that looks like that has these traits, then you'd be like,
I look at it as more as education.
Education?
Yeah.
I mean, but see, you get education, but what about the one that's like...
Somebody a little off
little
already.
off, and they're like, well, you know, he act just like that. You know he can't come to my house anymore. You know what I mean? It's just it's like that. I mean, what's your views on that?
Yeah, I think it varies depending on the eye of the beholder.
Okay, yeah.
You know,
Right.
We can't please everyone all the time. We can put out content out there that's meant to educate, meant to enlighten, begin a conversation. There's always going to be somebody that takes it a different way.
Right.
You know, so that is, I think, beyond the entertainers, the artist's role, the writer. I don't think they need to take responsibility for that. But you're very right. It can go any way with that.
Yeah.
And with everything that's positive, there's a negative side. We're talking about all the social media and how it's influencing everyone's life. And we love being able to Google the meaning of something without having to pull out the old-fashioned dictionary, you know, and do that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we also have to sacrifice our privacy for that.
Yes.
You do.
Yes.
And that's exactly where we're at. So again, for those of you millennials watching this, be careful what you put out there.
Yes.
Because it could come back to bite you later on.
That's
And
right.
we're warning you right now. You know?
It's true.
That's what they tell us. Like I know from the job, they do check you. A lot of people don't fully know. I think believe that, but they do check you. Like what you posted on Instagram, what you posted.
They do.
What did you say about this so and so? Or is this you smoking this blunt on this? Well, who is this?
Yeah.
Is this you at this party?
No, I thought that was illegal to do that.
Well, here's the thing.
I mean, it's not.
When you sign that contract and you with that company,
Yeah.
you are now like an ambassador with them.
Yeah.
They can't have an ambassador doing something that makes them look bad.
Yeah. I will admit, before I become friends with anybody on Facebook, that's like my questionnaire. I'm like, you mad at the world? Are you
I think everybody
are
into
you
an
racist?
extent.
Are you racist? Do you hate people? Do you hate men? Do you hate women?
So you interview people before you befriend them.
Because it's
Before
like
you friend them on
yes,
Facebook.
because it's like you wake up in the morning, you look, oh my God, I don't want to see this the first thing in the morning. You mad at the girl, everybody I hate. You know, my goodness. I'm like,
Unfriend.
right.
It's above the way, click way.
Okay, I did want to talk about, so motion picture now. That you're part of the motion picture industry, okay? So they had a Hayes rating back in 1930, I want to say 1938, which is the rating system they have now for every film for the Motion Picture Association of America. So, and Hayes, it started off, it was, I don't know his first name, I know his last name was Hayes. He was, I think it was Christian Bound. Anyway, it was certain movies, they was doing movies that had a lot of explicit sex scenes and...
in the 1930s?
Yeah,
Really?
I think it was 1930s or I think it came out, what was it, Chris again?
He's got the facts right.
You got the facts, Chris?
I'm not seeing that. What I'm seeing is, so Jack Valenti, who became president of the Motion Picture Association of America in May 1966, did the Motion Picture Production Code in place since 1930 and rigorously enforced since 1934 as a date and bringing the audience, like obviously censorship. Filmmakers were pushing at the boundaries of the code, with some even going as filing lawsuits against the Hayes Code by invoking the First Amendment. And Valenti cited examples such as Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf, which contained the expressions of screw and hump the hostess and blow up. So some stuff was just certain words you was automatically you couldn't have, which was denied code approval to the nudity, resulting in MPAA member studio releasing through subsidiary revised the code to include the SMA, which suggested for mature audiences. Advisory to a stopgap measure to accommodate the irresistible force of creators determined to make their films. So it's like it's like art expression coming into conflict with more, I don't know how to explain it.
So basically what they were doing is that they were saying with a certain content of the different films, what should be shown in society.
Or like if they show it, can you leave a label saying, hey,
this is the type of movies like this. So we suggest that you don't bring your kid.
We suggest
that 17 under don't watch this, or we suggest this got nudity and
depending on your parents, they brought you with to see the movie.
See, I don't know. Maybe that's the reason why I'm so crazy now. I mean, we never had. We watched the movie, So, but I mean, isn't that a sense of influence or controlling? Or I mean, who is this system to tell you that your kid shouldn't watch this, or is it that this movie just let you be aware of that this movie has this type of content? That's true.
I think it's important to let them be aware. This is coming from a mom. I'm also a grandma now. And I think that's important. I know this sort of crosses the line with freedom of expression. You can still make your movie and put anything you want in it. Some of the laws that society puts out there, I know the intention is always to protect everyone. I get that, and I'm having a hard time with this question because I'm questioning censorship a lot. Because as an artist, I have a problem with that to some extent, but at the same time, I do want to protect, particularly our youth.
Yes.
But at the end of the day, it's really up to the parents.
Like cell phones, smartphones, you can tell them not to, but that just makes them more curious to go and do it.
Right. I do have another perspective that just popped into my head, and I'm glad I thought of this. So, as a producer now with this passion project, I've learned so much about the business end. And now that goes into the legal end. If they don't post a rating, there's all kinds of legal issues that can come up for those producers and for that production company and for the studio, if it's a studio project, if they don't. So it comes down to, sadly, we have become a sue-happy society.
Yes.
Well, I didn't know that was in it. They didn't post that. I took my son, and all of a sudden, oh my goodness.
Yes.
So even though we all know, I don't know about you guys, but I snuck into R-rated movies before I was 17 with my friends.
Oh yes, I don't know.
Okay. And we can't control what content anyone is viewing in their home or their kids are viewing on their devices. We can't control that, nor would I really want to.
Right.
But it has to be in place.
Just to say that we have it.
Just to say that we have it. It's kind of like the good housekeeping seal of approval.
Right.
Because it is there to protect legally a lot of people who are filmmakers.
I mean, they got warning labels on coffee cups.
Yeah.
Hot.
Right.
That's all it
That's
says. Because somebody else spilled some coffee.
They sued.
Yes.
Remember, the woman sued McDonald's.
Yes, I remember that.
Because she got the coffee spilled on her.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, coffee's not served cold
No.
when you order hot. I mean, unless you get iced coffee.
Back then, she ordered a hot cup of coffee.
Right.
But now they have to put the warning label hot
on
the coffee cup.
And like you said, I remember when Chicago came out. I remember when the movie Chicago came out, and Queen Latifah was in it.
Right.
And I'll never forget this because we was in it and I was so excited to see Queen Latifah and I was seeing everybody, Zaya Jones and all that, Catherine Zeta-Jones. And I remember when Queen Latifah was singing, and you know, she's kind of top heavy.
Sure.
And she had she was doing her little sexy whatever. And I'll never forget this man getting up with his kids and walking out. And he was like mumbling, he was so disgusted. And I'm like, I didn't think nothing was wrong with it. I mean,
right.
You know, so
everybody has a different level of standards for things, right.
So we're gonna be right back. We'll come back talking about our on the content on music, and we'll be right back.
As the song says, it takes little to be happy. A dog named Shep, music, an outhouse that doesn't have spiders, baseball, lots of baseball, especially the Cubs. But it will all be even better if my dad gets to come home.
I can't see him like this.
You think you are the only woman who's ever suffered hardship?
This is the Peoria Tuberculosis Sanatorium calling about your husband.
Dad? I'll get help.
I'm okay. My boy and I, we catch all the Cub games. We never miss a one. And we listen to them together. I can guarantee you right now, he's listening to the game at home.
I gotta be a Cub. I know you do.
No, you don't. You weren't there. You didn't see his face when Gabby hit the home run.
We're not gonna get any better just standing around, are you?
Die Lehr von deiner Guter empfangen. Durch Christus, unseren Herrn. Amen.
Okay, and we are back. Okay, so we're going to talk about the explicit language. You know, that started. I remember the explicit language on music. I remember when it came. I remember when it came out. It was NWA.
Mm-hmm. Ice Cube also had a song that was, and I don't remember what it was called.
See, Ice Cube was
very rough. What he said was like,
but he wasn't by himself
set
yet.
people up.
He wasn't by himself. It was NWA when it was the gangster rap in LA.
Hardcore.
And that was like early 1990s.
Yes, 1990s.
Yeah, it was like them, MC Hammer, Janet Jackson, all of them was going out at the time. So I remember when we was like going to go buy it, the CD, and they asked for ID.
Yes.
No, I want to, and we couldn't buy it because you had to bring your parent.
Yeah.
You know, so I mean that's a form of influencing or control, or is it not? Or what's your thoughts?
Go ahead.
See, that's tricky again because it's like, because at a young age, kids are easily influenced. Mm-hmm. This is why, like, going back to the whole movie thing, it's like, it goes just like with games. Some people do take it too far, and it's like if you, this is why, like, certain shows, like, they do bullying, and it shows the after effects where the kid comes to school armed to the teeth. It's like, if the kid's if someone's going through that right now, can he influence them? Yes, because you're in a dark place. Your mind can go anywhere to find escape. That's why, like, I get why people put the warning. We warned you. But I get it because, like, it can. But okay. So shortly after the formation in April 1985, the Parents Music Resource Center, or PMRC, assembled a list of 15 songs with deemed unsuitable content. Particular criticism was placed on, I might know about this song, I do, Darling Nikki by Prince. Mm-hmm. I guess songs about sex and masturbation. I didn't know that.
I never heard of that.
I didn't know it.
I didn't know it had nothing to do with, but I mean,
that's what he said.
It was a good song.
Now you do.
You knew what that was. That's that red light song.
They said the daughter of PMCRC co-founder Mary Tipper Gore recognized the references to masturbation. That's how she could tell. Well, after the Recording Industry Association of America, or RAAA, responded by introducing an early version of the content warning label, the PRC was displeased and proposed that a music rating system structured like the Motion Picture Association of America film rating system be enacted. Alternatively, they suggested using a warning label reading parental guidance, explicit lyrics, and after continued conflict between the organizations, the matter was discussed on September 19th at a hearing for the United States Senate Committee on Commerce, Science, and Transportation. Notable musicians Frank Zappa, Dee Snider, and John Denver each testified at this hearing with a strong opposition to PMRC's warning label system and censorship in general. So,
John Denver was there?
Yeah, we're all trying to fight that. Yeah.
I mean,
Whoa, he's like the most mellow guy.
I know. He's never been offensive. But he was like,
he's really mellow.
But you know, that just goes to show you again, this is art. This is a form of expression.
It's like what he's saying, yeah.
However, it's funny because you say it, because ironically, they said when they would post these explicit lyrics like parental advisory or have his lyrics attached on the backside, kids will actively set out to see what if it was explicit, and then so it actually backfired in a way. So it was they were considered controversial.
Right. Music has been around for forever. You know, back in the drumming days when they didn't have lyrics to it and all they was doing was humming and drumming. You know, that was just
what were they doing?
Humming and drumming.
Humming and drumming.
I think they still doing that to a degree.
Well, hey, but at the end of the day, it moves people and it does get people. So even going back to that Prince song, Darling Nikki, I mean, it just gets you moving.
Does it?
But you don't realize that's what he's talking about.
Oh, really?
Now, did they say that about Tambourine Man?
Oh.
Y'all don't know that song? That's talking about drugs.
That was
yes.
also there.
Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds. There's another
Vanity had another one
They even said fuck the magic track.
Yeah.
Come on now. So it goes back to
so they can pick and choose what they think.
Yes.
So that's
what
still
I'm saying.
influencing.
It's
right?
still influencing. I do like warning labels, don't get me wrong, because I do feel like that's just the preschool teacher in me from back in them years of knowing that you need to have some type of warning label. But then parents have the decision if your child can handle that material or not.
Yeah.
You know, they can make that decision if your child can handle it. Some kids don't, like me. I was naive. I had no idea.
Right.
I had a sister that was crazy about Prince. So Prince was going in our house all the time. And when we went to Minnesota, we went to the mansion. No, we didn't go in, but we went outside the mansion. We went to buy his club with all the purple lights wrapped around it, you know, just because she had that craze for Prince. She's not crazy. I mean, she hasn't done anything, you know, his lyrics didn't influence her to do anything crematorial or, you know, put her into a trance or anything like that. But that was the music back in the day that got her
See,
attacked.
it probably didn't do that to your sister, but what about someone else who's
It could have, because
sexually charged or sexually...
It could have, but is it our responsibility, the entertainment industries or anyone's, to... I mean, we can't keep everyone from doing terrible things in the world.
Right.
So, again, I think we confer, we need those warning labels.
It's sad because it's like, I guess there was a song called, and because I would go through like struggle mental illness, it was by Hobson, it was called Kill Her. And Hobson was violent on that track.
Oh my God.
If you heard his song, wait, the whole...
Who was her referring?
There's a verse where he says, what do you say, kick her in the...
You listen to this song.
It was like years ago. This is high school. And this is years ago. I was a lot. It was a lot. I was heavily, yeah, man. But like, that's the thing, is when people get like, they seek something that kind of makes them, and that's where it's like, it's like, I don't...
You know, but most people are always a go button away. They looking for something to press that go button and do what they gonna do.
Right. So that's movies and music. Okay, what about plays and art? How do you censor that? Or could that be censored? Or
the
is
difference?
You know, the difference. I mean, with plays and art. I mean, can you censor that? I mean, because we've seen art where there's nakedness. And little Johnny's with you. Oh, we're going to see him. Is he okay?
I don't think I've heard anything for art.
I mean, I am aware that there are certain exhibits at certain museums that, you know, there may be, again, some advisory notices or placards before you go in, advise there's nudity in this exhibit, there could be offensive material to whatever, with visual art. you probably all are familiar with, I won't be able to think of the name of the artist, but about the artist that basically made a crucifix, turned it upside down, and put it in a jar of urine.
Oh.
And they consider that some kind of piece of art.
Oh,
now, I'm going to just take a wild guess that all of us would be offended by that, right?
Yes. Huge.
Right?
Yes.
However, do we tell the person that created that, whatever statement they were trying to make, I don't even want to try to analyze it, that they can't do that?
Right.
I suppose you could say, well, then why did that museum allow them to put that on display? This was a real thing. I remember this was a while back, but
Right.
I want to say it was some East Coast museum, and there was a big story about it because
Yeah.
a lot of people boycotted it. They actually, stood out front and, put posters against going in and all that. But again, they put their warnings up that this may be offensive to someone, but do they have still the right to do it?
Right.
And
See, it's like I don't agree with you. I don't agree with you did.
Right.
But I just walk away.
Right, and I wouldn't go.
Yes.
I
It's
wouldn't
their
go.
freedom of expression. It's art. I mean,
Yes.
that's
Right.
Yeah, I went to see a play last year, the end of last year, at ICC. It was called Two Governors, and it was kids out there.
I know what you're gonna say.
But it was, I was like, it was real racy. I was like, oh my, and they had guys grabbing each other, crouching at their own, and some was, in a position where there was at the lower region of another guy, and there's another guy underneath. Anyway, but I'm sitting there looking, I had to do an article on it, and I'm like, oh my God. I was like, what was the title of your article? It was very suggestive, and they told me, we want you to go and write an article on this, and I was like, okay. So I got there, and I'm all enthused, it's a
Did they
play.
give you a warning label?
Yeah, there was no warning label.
There was no warning label on the program.
And so they said, well, the person in charge of me, he said, well, you was really offended by it. You can, I was like, well, I'm not finna do that. Call the school. My feelings was hurt. I'm not finna do that. It was them, but I'm not gonna take them to my baby nieces and nephews with me.
No, and I believe, so if anyone from ICC is watching this, I believe there should have been some kind of discretionary note or warning or advisory or something, even when, I don't know if there was any advertisement. A lot of college plays don't get advertising, but if there was any promotional materials out there, I think there should have been something on there. I really do.
Yeah, well, they had websites.
Okay.
And it was promoted on that.
But nothing was on there.
No, because they should have that. And even on the billboard, or what they call it,
the poster, or
bulletin, or
the bulletin. What's it?
the program.
Yeah, the
program.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
The playbill.
Yeah, they should have playbill. Yeah, they should have said something like that.
I mean, again, can they do that play? Absolutely.
Yes.
And college kids especially, they want to do something a little more edgy. They want to push the boundaries still.
Right.
But should there be a warning on there? Absolutely yes on that too.
By the way, the actors, the whole play was superb though. It was awesome.
Oh, now you want to say that?
It really was. It was really, and all the actors, they were excellent. They were really excellent.
Right.
I really loved the play.
Yeah.
Itself. And the acting, I loved it. I just know that the content.
Sure, you were surprised.
I was looking at this little girl with a blonde ponytail down here, and I'm just like, if I was a mama.
Well, you know what that brings me? You always got a story. When I was in high school, I acted in the play called Pippin. Not Pippin, but Pippin.
I know Pippin.
And I was the hooker.
Yeah, that's a good part.
Oh, were you now?
I didn't know. But again,
So you don't say.
I didn't know I was a hooker.
You didn't know?
I didn't realize.
With the boots on, you got on. You didn't know you was a.
What did the director tell you were?
Right.
You know what? I don't remember, and I love her name was Mariana Rouse. I don't remember what Miss Rouse said that I was going to be, but me and my friend Andrea, the one that came on here that was a part of it, we were both hookers in that play. But when I went back after the fact, somebody had said something about it, Pippin, and it was like, oh, you played the hooker portion. I was like, I did? I had signed up to be like an extra. I didn't want to be a main role. Sure. I was in dance and singing and dancing in school, so I just, I really wanted to be in the background, doing the scenes, doing the hair, the makeup, costumes, and I did that, but they needed some extra roles, so at the last minute, hey, I need you to play this part. And I had a little small singing part.
I need you to play a house.
Yeah. So, they got me. And I did it. And I did it well too. But I'm just saying that play I think was like a 1974 Broadway play or something like that. It was an older play. They were doing these things back then. But it was tasteful. It was my whole point that I was going to make. It was tasteful. My clothes didn't come off.
You was a tasteful hooker.
I was a tasteful hooker.
Oh, okay.
My clothes didn't come off, but it still had that subliminal message of what I was supposed to be that I didn't know I was that until afterwards.
You was a tasteful hooker.
I was a tasteful hooker.
And I can say, having done live theater as well.
Yes.
It has a little more impact when it's live because you're watching it happen in real time, And so I guess as an audience member, I find that very cool and intriguing. As a performer, it's exciting, but I also think there needs to be, maybe not in your high school version, but like what you were talking about at ICC or Cornstalk Lab Theater just did a play called Fun House. And it's based on a true story, and this young woman, but in all of their advertising, they always said, adult content.
Yes.
Because they are exploring this woman's journey, figuring out that she's a lesbian. And there are a couple scenes, again, no nudity necessarily, but some very suggestive type activities. So anyway, I just
it's art.
It is art. It is art.
So over time, we had the language, explicit language, then we had the code, and then now that wasn't enough. They now allow parents to put devices on TV where they can say, okay, my child could watch this channel, but not this channel, this channel. When did that start, Chris?
I actually could not find that too well.
But
apologize.
I can tell you because I tried to do it, but you talk first.
We should know. Me and I both should know because we dealt in this in school, and I remember this was on a test, and I'm slipping. I just remember the V-chip. I remember the V-chip. I want to say it was around the same time as the explicit in the parental control. I think it was around the same time as
in the 80s.
I think around the same time when all that went down.
I don't know the exact date, but I do know that it was in the 80s because MTV was really big.
Yes, that's back when they were really cut loose.
Oh yeah.
So MTV raps.
The one that passed away, I can't remember his name. Is it O'Neal? Oh, it's a comedian. I can't remember his name.
I don't know.
It was back when you heard Eddie Murphy, and I remember my dad showed had some stuff from 80s, and I had never heard Eddie Murphy.
No.
I remember his name, something O'Neal.
I
just remember he showed me some stuff from the 80s, and he said back then they were cussing, they were getting real out there when they would do comedy. I'm like, you don't hear this now no more on TV. MTV is dumbed down now. Yeah. I don't hear this.
What you was going to say, Ann?
No, I was just going to say that my sons, I love you both, but we tried blocking MTV. And I say the word try.
There's ways around parental control.
There are ways. Today there are ways. And again, I'm not saying that parents don't have the right to do that, and they should. But don't think for a minute that this son or daughter isn't going to still see it, even if it's not at your house. They're going to see it somewhere. But again, as a parent, I have to tell you, we had to do all those things because, hate to say this, but it's true, there's always that fear. If they do something that maybe is remotely reflected in this video they watched, or this thing that they watched supposedly, and they find out that we didn't have these parental controls on there, they're going to come after us. And they're going to say we're bad parents, even though we know we aren't.
Exactly.
So it's really sad, but parents have to be looking over their shoulders all the time, even more so now. I can't imagine if my kids were little today. I can't imagine. I'd have to have everything locked up.
We're definitely in a different era where you do.
I remember the HBO used to have a box.
A
little wooden frame box. And we'll tell you a story. So we used to sneak and watch Nightmare on Elm Street. And we snuck and watched it when my aunt wasn't there. Sorry, in Florida. I'm so sorry.
It's out now.
She's the one that's in the video?
Yes.
Oh, good. Okay.
So we snuck and watched it, and watching my cousin Kelly. I'm like, oh, Kelly's watching it. We watching it. Scared the hell out of us. And ever since then, I mean, we were scared. We were scared so bad. We couldn't, because he took the girl in the bathtub. She got up. We were scared to take baths. He took the boy, like this, his big arm, put him in the bed, so we were scared. We were sleeping on the side, the edge of the bed like this. And so we thought Freddy Krueger was in that box. And so we would touch that box. Freddy Krueger, it was just crazy. So that whole deal.
Michael Jackson Thriller was for me.
Yeah.
Every time that music would come on, I'd go hide underneath the kitchen table.
I hate that rap
Girls, beginning of
Darkness falls beneath the light.
Yes, as soon as I heard that,
Darkness
and the music was coming after that, boom, I was underneath the kitchen table.
I can see that, sure.
Yeah. Okay, last question. We're going to let Ann go. What is the positive things that media influences? Like, what is something positive? We know that they, try to keep the negative from coming out. We know that they try to make parents aware of some of the content of stuff. But what are some of the things that they influence where it's positive to society?
Increased awareness, easy and speedy access, media as a platform. So, for example, social media serves one of the best means to voice our opinions on any and everything in the world. Blogs are a great way for anyone to express his or her ideas. Conversations in the form of comments on social or blog posts. Easy, speedy access. Due to the rapid spread of media to all parts of the world, the access to information is easy and fast. Owing the web technology, almost everyone has access to information from anywhere in the world. Increased awareness. Expose different forms of media leads to an increased awareness about what's happening in the world. Newspapers, web portals, modern day mobile apps that serve as news feeds.
I can think of one for the increased awareness. I always love seeing this is that National Day of Play, where Nickelodeon and some other children's TV shows will shut down and make the kids go out and play. I love it.
That's good.
I love it. That is one of the best forms to get kids out there. Because kids will go outside and play more.
Yeah.
That National Day to Play is, I love that one.
Right. What do you see as an influence to media? I mean, media influences society.
Wow, I'm going to reiterate everything you guys said, and I think it helps a lot of groups and people who didn't have much of a voice before because they didn't have a platform to get it out, that way. That can run the gamut from any kind of social, political issue, whether we agree or disagree, we get it out there, and I do see a lot of positivity, particularly for children and for families. I love the day of play you talked about. Everything from trying to eat healthier, to more positive choices in your life, just in general. Right. So that's all out there. So I'd like to hope that the positive side of all the social media and all of the content that we're constantly being inundated with us every day is being used for the most part in a positive manner, but that we learn to filter out the stuff that isn't good or maybe doesn't pertain to our life.
Right.
But we at least have the choice.
Right.
I think that's
good
really important.
You say something at the end of your film about giving families a good family film for people to watch. What is that? I mean, I'm going to mess it
up. So no. But our screenplay has been given the seal of approval from the Parents Motion Picture and TV Council in Hollywood.
And what is that?
And what that means is, talk about ratings. So our film it'll probably be PG versus G because there is some minor language, and the reason for that, just so you guys know, when kids get together and their parents aren't around, even in the 1940s, especially when they're playing ball, they don't always use the best choices in language. Okay? But my point is that by getting that seal of approval, that means that our film is being approved for multi-generational audiences.
That's good.
So there should be no problem with someone who's a grandparent or even a great-grandparent showing, and having everybody sit around and watching it or going to the theater together. And to what you were saying, the other incentive that I had in developing this project is that of all the genres of film or content that are being produced today, and there's a lot of them, the one that we have the least of is what I just described. And that is a film or a TV series or a streaming program that can be viewed by multi-generations.
Yeah.
We have a dearth of family content. And family, by family, I'm not just talking about, you know, a mom and a dad and the kids. I can be talking about a same gender parent household. You know, I mean, family is family, love is love.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, my family happens to be German, okay? But your family would be very different. Your family would be very different. So I encourage everyone that may be watching this to support family projects. There is a dearth of them, but when one does come out, a family or even a faith-based project, they do very, very well at the box office. Miracle from Heaven, the one that came out last year called I Can Only Imagine. There's one out right now that combines football with faith-based, which is awesome. Tim Tebow, I think is his name.
Really?
Yes. It's called Run the Race. And he did not intend to get into the producing or film industry, but he had a great story. And he and his brother produced this film. In fact, the first weekend it made the top 10.
Awesome.
And he's billing it as a family/faith-based film.
Yes.
So society wants that. We also have a lack of content in the same category for seniors. We always seem to focus on the kids and the young, and I think that's because we all want to be young again. But the truth of the matter is, our senior part of our society, I'm not saying they're rich, but they do have a little disposable income. They're not paying for kids' college anymore. They do want to go to the movies. They do want to watch things on TV. But there's very little that is out there that they want to see.
Right.
So, yes. So, Real Prayers Are Said in German, and I know there's other projects out there in development that will do the same thing, will appeal to those audiences for all those reasons at least we hope anyway.
Awesome. So Real Prayers in German, they can go to Real Prayers in German.
www is just the name of our film, www.realprayersaresaidingerman.com. It gives the background on our story. You can see all of our proof of concept shorts. If you ever wanted to donate to a project like this, it is tax deductible because we have a fiscal sponsor called Independent Filmmakers of Chicago, and their sole purpose of even being is to help filmmakers like us. You can donate if you want more information. There's an email address on there that you can contact the other producers and myself. And we're just really excited to be able to be given this space to produce a story like this, and I'm thankful to be given this time and space today to talk about that and to meet all you wonderful people.
We're thankful for you being here.
So much.
Thank you so much. Thank you again, Ann Hagemann, for stopping down here at the corner store. We will see you back. I am Pietro Baker.
And I'm Tori Watson-Jones.
Christopher Bass, a.k.a. C. Bass. Keep it fresh.
He keeps going.
Lord have mercy. Have a good day. Please stay marinated, apparently. Talk to you later.